Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you're in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting. I appreciate the support. And if you're interested in supporting me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon or Ko-fi link. They're both in the description below. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about something that I was quoted for recently that I realized I had said but haven't actually done a video on. I don't remember who exactly quoted me, but someone quoted me in the INFJ group, the Facebook group that I have, which you guys are more than welcome to join. Obviously, the link is in the description below. It's a free group for all INFJs, or all people in general, just to share our lives with each other. And someone mentioned the fact that I had said a long time ago, and he paraphrased it in this way, where I would rather, and this is what I said, I would rather be the dumbest person in the group of smart people rather than being the smartest person in a group of dumb people. Now, of course, smart and dumb, it's a very negative way to look at it, or not really nice terms, but I wanted to get across the gist of what I'm saying. So hopefully that makes sense to you. What I'm trying to express in this phrase is that I'd rather be surrounded by people who are smarter than me than be surrounded by people who are not as smart as me or at the same level as me even. Because of course, if I'm surrounded by people smarter than me, I'm going to learn more. Yeah. Now I want to expand on this a little bit because a lot of you have mentioned to me that you're not surrounded by people at all. So how does that apply to you? You know, you're by yourself, you work from home perhaps, or you don't have that many friends. You know, that adage that Jim Rohn comes up with, that, you know, you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with. Well, perhaps you don't even have 5 people that you hang out with. Perhaps you have one person and you rarely hang out with that person. So how does this apply to you, and how can you apply it to yourself? Yesterday, or day before yesterday, I started reading this book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance by Robert Persig. I don't actually remember the name of the author, I'm so sorry. But it's a classical book. It's a classic, iconic book. And it is one of those philosophical books that has been there for years now, decades now. And I've picked this book up 1,000 times over. Not 1,000, but many dozens of times. And I picked it up, I've looked at it, I've read a couple of chapters, it got really deep and intense for me, and I would just drop it off again. I think I have a reasonable level of intelligence, and it's a difficult book for me to read. I really have to muster up all of my brain cells in my head. I really have to be like, all right, guys, we have to focus now. We're reading about classical and romantic beauty, or we're reading about quality and or point car, or whatever it might be. And I literally am sitting there thinking, okay, really strengthening my resolve and reading through the book. It's been a little bit of a mission, and I've been really finding myself at points thinking to myself, I have no idea what he's talking about. I literally am lost, and I have to read paragraphs over and over and over and over again. And then after the 5th reading, I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense, but not really, but I'm gonna go onward because I'm sure it'll make sense in the future. And so it's really, for me especially, has been it's been an endeavor. And I have actually gone past the last few times I've read the book. I think I got to chapter 4 maybe. That's the highest I've ever gotten to. And now I'm almost at the end of the book. So it's surprising to me that I've actually gotten to, I think I've gotten to 70% of the book now, and I have a few more chapters left. But it's surprising to me that I've actually gotten this far, because at points I was ready to give up. I was ready to be like, I'm going to throw the book across the street. I'm going to throw it in the garbage dump. I never want to look at it again. I don't know what he's saying. How can he be talking about things that I have no idea about? Being a reasonably intelligent person, I assume that I can understand most things. But of course, this person who's writing this book is many times smarter than me. Many times smarter than me. And it's proven in the fact that some of the words that he uses, some of the phrases and some of the ways he makes up the paragraphs and the sentence structures, I am literally sitting there, I have no clue what he's talking about. And that is what I'm talking about, is to surround yourself by people like that, even though it's a huge hit to the ego. I mean, I'm literally sitting there thinking, I thought I was smart, but I guess I'm not. I'm literally sitting there thinking, wow, I can't believe I have been smashed in my ego so badly. And I'm sitting there thinking, I obviously have a lot. And I knew that already, but my ego was kind of like, yeah, well, I know a lot. Now I realize I don't know anything. Some of the stuff he's bringing up, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this person's brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant, and I am grateful that I get to study at his feet like this by reading this book. Now, the same thing applies to us in general. So if you don't have people around you, if you don't have individuals, specific smart individuals around you, as mentors, coaches, bosses, or authority figures, or people like that, this plane is loud. Sorry about that, guys. If you don't have people like that around you, I would recommend that you use books, obviously, as your source of this mentorship, this source where you can be surrounded by extremely smart people. You can be surrounded by people who are much smarter than you, perhaps at a different level than you. I have no idea when you're ever going to reach that level. I'm sitting there, as I said, reading that book and thinking to myself, I'm never going to get to the level at which this individual is thinking and formulating his thought processes and then writing them out in a way where it makes sense to other individuals. It is absolutely brilliant. And for me, I'm still a far, far, far way away from that. A long, long away from that. If I ever even reach there, I have no idea. But that's the kind of people you want to surround yourself with. Fantastically smart people who are thinking in paradigms and in thought processes that are way beyond you, because you can sit with them and they will talk about things and you're sitting there thinking, I don't know what you just said. But first of all, you're able to take notes, which I did, and you can actually read through your notes, read through the paragraphs again and again if it's a book, and really try to understand it. Let it congeal in your mind, let your brain cells ponder over it and mull over it, and then eventually be able to remove all of the intricacies and make it a little bit simpler for you to understand, which is what I did with a lot of the language. I had to sit and really simplify the language so I could understand it and inculcate it into my own mind. So first you can do that. But secondly, also, I think that a lot of us forget the power of the subconscious mind. And a lot of these ideas that are coming at us, even if it's not apparent at first glance or at first reading or first hearing what they mean, your subconscious is still mulling over it. And I noticed that a lot of times I'll read the Zen book and I'll fall asleep after. I usually try to read it before sleep because I want my mind to work on it overnight. And so I'll read it and then I'll fall asleep, and in the morning I'll have this realization about classical beauty, or about quality being the Buddha, and that is just so beautiful, where I'm sitting there and I literally sit there for 10 minutes after I wake up thinking to myself, wow, I can't believe that I had this realization, because obviously my subconscious and my dream world and all of that stuff has been working overnight on it, and I was able to get insights that perhaps I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Yeah. So we forget that we also have that tool at our disposal. It's not just our conscious mind, but also our subconscious that's working on this stuff. And all of this information that you're getting is just making you a better and better individual. Now, I'm not saying overload yourself with information. I know we have a tendency to do that sometimes, but I am saying that try to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, so you can think in ways and you can wake up neurons in your brain. Right now, the neurons in my brain are extremely awake and extremely agitated because they're learning things that they haven't learned before, or neurons that have never been woken up before are actually being woken up and saying, all right, cool, so I've been asleep for 20 years, let me wake up and do some work now. And that kind of stuff is really great, not only for your brain, for your mental capacities, but also for life in general, because I find all of a sudden I'm reading this book and I'm so energized about life, I'm so excited about it, because there's something I don't understand, and it's a challenge. It's a challenge that I haven't had in a while, because I have been reading books that have been pretty simple, and this one really makes my mind whir, and it makes my mind it's like dynamo. It's like just going, it's rotating, and it's just moving at such a fast speed. It just makes me come alive. And that's the reason why I really recommend that you surround yourself with people, mentors, books, coaches like that, people smarter than you, much smarter than you, because they're the ones who are going to make you think, they're the ones who are going to make you grow, they're the ones who are going to make you move forward. I'm sure you guys have heard of this adage or strategy where if you are playing tennis, for example, and you want to improve, you're not going to play tennis against someone who's at the same level as you, or lower, obviously. If you have this desire to improve, you're going to play with someone who's a little bit better than you, a lot better than you perhaps, maybe 10 times better than you. And that challenge perhaps is what's going to make you grow, rather than playing against someone who's the same level as you. What we end up doing in our laziness, in our comfort zone, is that we end up hanging out with people who are the same level as us or lower than us, because it makes us feel better about ourselves, right? And yeah, it's great. It's a good ego boost. It makes you feel like, yeah, I'm awesome, I'm great, I'm perfect, look at me. And that's great for a few days, for a few months maybe. But after a while, you're like, all right, I'm bored. I need some stimulation. What am I going to do? That's one of the reasons why I spend as little time as possible in social events and things like that, especially when there's a lot of drinking happening, because I literally feel dead when I come out from those events. But I do spend a lot of time reading. I spend a lot of time reading books from people who are extremely smart, much smarter than me, obviously, sometimes 10 times smarter than me, like this person, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I do recommend the book a lot. It's brilliant, even though it takes a long time to read and a lot of effort. It's so great. I really appreciate the fact that I've been able to read it, but also go through it in a way where I was able to do it very slowly and really understand it. Now, I don't think I've really understood it. I'm sure there's so many layers to it. And so I would like to read it again in a couple of years so that I can understand a little bit more, knowing that I've grown as a person. But yes, it's a great book and I do recommend it. I hope this kind of made sense to you guys. I've been talking for a while now. Again, if you guys have any questions about this, please do message me below or comment below, and I will do a video further expanding this topic. And if you guys are obviously interested in supporting me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon or Ko-fi link. They're both in the description below. Again, thank you so much for watching. I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.